The Charib was characterized by conflicts and competition and wars between different communities competing for its resources. But today we recognize it for what it really is, which is a very vital center of a very vast and diverse landscape, which brings together people and animals and plants and minerals and cultures and languages into a beautiful confluence. If there is an aorta pumping lifeblood through the heart of the Northern Cape, it's the Charib River. Like the Niger or the Nile River, it's a linear oasis which has given life to people and ecosystems for millions of years. We're in the Wonderwerk Cave in the Charib catchment near Kuruman. Here human beings and their ancestors have lived continuously for some 2 million years. And the exciting thing about this site is that all of the artifacts that we find were probably left there by the people who lived there. We can see here on the wall the finger painting of eland. These are by the sun, and across the way of elephant. And these are the more recent evidence of human habitation.
These give us clues not only about the most recent Khoisan people that lived in this cave, but also some important information about which animals once roamed in this area.
This cave is 140 meters long, which is nearly 1.5 rugby fields long, and 30 meters on average wide. Hundreds of thousands of generations of humans and their ancestors, going back to Homo erectus, Homo habilis, have lived here continuously. Early Stone Age implements like hand axes dating back to 1.6 million years have been found where they were left. We have the teeth of extinct species of horses and many more artifacts from 10 to 20,000 years ago. For me, it's actually quite an emotional place because in 1981 I wrote a song called Scatterlings of Africa, which promoted the idea that Africa was the birthplace and the cradle of mankind, from which all people spread. And one of the verses went, "Ancient bones from old Dubai, echoes of the very first cry. Who made me here and why? Beneath the copper sun. African idea, make the future clear. For we are scatterlings of Africa, both you and I."
Scatterlings and fugitives, hooded eyes and weary brows, seek refuge in the night. They are the scatterlings of Africa, each uprooted one.
It's not only archaeologists that have been inspired by this cave. Many artists have been drawn to its extraordinary history. This painting by Austrian-born artist Otto Klar represents Wonderwerk as a space that has been densely inhabited over millions of years. Walter Battis, in these copies of Bushman paintings, embarked on a project to preserve these fragile works by the San, which he admired greatly. He also used the forms of these works as a launching pad for his own imagination.
I'm right at the back of the Wonderwerk cave, and looking at the entrance, I'm suddenly struck by its similarity to a huge underground railway station where generation upon generation of humans and their ancestors have come and gone and left us these little clues and memories of their passing. It's a very powerful atmosphere, and it makes me really understand the emotion in Michael Cope's poem, Ancestors at Wonderwerk.
The line of them is long. They tread on my heart. They walk through my bones. Their feet pass through my ribs. My head is as air to them. They walk on stones beneath me. Their limbs are slick with rain. It is the rain that sent them, and their tread comes on and on.
The last known inhabitant of this cave was a person by the name of Klaas Edward Bosman, who was the owner of the farm on which this cave is situated. And he lived here with his family from 1900 to 1907 while he was building a house on the farm. And we have a very, very important piece of original archaeological evidence for this time period. He was a very large man in a large cave in a very large part of our history. Phethu ngiyabonga. Dankie.
The Gerib did not just provide water and food for the San people who tracked its course, but it was a very spiritual place too. One of the most enduring beliefs is that of a very large water snake who lives under the water called Kwa. Various groups of people around the country have imagined this ominous water spirit in different forms, and they've called it other names, such as Mamlambo. But here in the Northern Cape, it is believed to resemble a giant python with a neck more than 3 meters long. The place I'm traveling to, Driekops Eiland, Three-Headed Island, is one of the places it is believed to live. In fact, it has occasionally been referred to as Twa's a river palace.
I'm 60 kilometers west of Kimberley on the bedrock of the Rit River, which runs into the Gerib. This is an incredibly important geological site because it's 2,000 million years old. It even has striations from glaciers. But for our story, the most important fact is that this is the biggest canvas in the world, containing 3,500 rock engravings. There's nothing like it anywhere else in the world, by the Khoisan community some 2,000 years ago. Although there's been many attempts to try and decipher these enigmatic diagrams and drawings and representations, one has a sense that because it was at the bottom of the river, when the river went down, these carvings would come to light. And there's a lot of speculation arguing basically two things: that these could be symbols of appeasement to bring back the water. The other thing is it could be linked to initiation rites of young girls.
Many Khoisan societies believed that there was a link between young pubescent girl initiates and rain, water, blood and snakes. In fact, they share the same Nama root word. One of the interpretations of these engravings is that they mark various ritual ceremonies held when young women start menstruating. These engravings were made to pacify the water snake, who, if offended, could cause havoc.
For me particularly today, it's a wonderful occasion because we see that these very same drawings and designs have been taken up by a group of women who have embroidered them into huge, beautiful embroideries.
Some of these embroideries have landed up in the Judges' Lounge of the Constitutional Court in Johannesburg. These women have copied motifs from these rocks and exquisitely interpreted them in subtle color and design.
Oh, dumelang oba my sister.
Dumela.
Meron tati ni
Tate le kae?
Riteng, ritsukile le kae?
No le
Re na re teng a
teng.
molato.
Sisi Gladys, utlwa jang embroidery gago ele molao motheong?
Ke ikutlwa ke le motlotlo thata ha mmereko wa ka o le ko molaong theo ka gonne molaotheo ke yone pleke e tona mo South Africa e leng pleke ya Constitution Hill Court ke pleke e tona, even la le mo president a etse phosho o khona go ya go yone khoto e a go sekela go yone. Ke ikutlwa ke le motlotlo because di memories tsaka ko re kitso botlhale le tlhaloganyo tsaka di setse kwa although ke se teng kwa.
Dankie. Ke kopa mpontsha embroidery.
Sorry. ke yone mmereko ke o dirang ono mmereko ke dirang o ke tsone di rocking grapes tse di takilweng yana mono mo tulong e rileng mo go yone mare hela ga nkitla o bona ka gonne khala ya teng e donker so ya no mono mo ke dirisa my own ideas gore di colors tsaka ke dirisa di colors tse di bright gore motho a bona gore ke diraeng ya no ntho e ke takile mo e tshwana if ka re ke letsatsi
intle la tseba Nora Gamesi
Nora ya Messi nna ke a e tshaba le go e bona ga ke batle le go e bona e kwae tota Mamlango ke motho o kwae
bua go godimo
ke like Nora ya Messi ne like ya ka a o le jonkana o batla go isiwa go bojale before ya go bojale o tlisiwa mo nogeng ya metsi gore e tlo go batisa gore a ke nnete you are a virgin or what ha ile gore ga o virgin ai chika e lwantsha metsi bitse gore ga ya itumela mo e leng teng
amba
e tla go tsosetsa bodu
ai re a libo ga bagisi
There's a lot of indoors that are around South Africa. There are soccer schools that have started it already. My name is Kyle Kur. I'm the captain of Orlando Pirates Fives and I'm an attacking player. We need to get into grassroots, get into where there's no indoor facilities, where there's no soccer schools. And I think the only way we can help is if it starts from the top, like your SAFA, your PSL.
As much as 11-a-side, you do get your technical players, but everything comes from futsal. Everything comes from 5-a-side. My name is Alzavian van Reere, better known as Coach Xavi, coach of Orlando Pirates Fives.
Gerald Edwards, known as Lee, coach of Orlando Pirates Fives. If you look at 11-a-side, you look at a longer period. Where it comes to the small-sided game, we condition them in shortest times.
On this side here, it's more of a family that is, a small family. A small family where you don't have to break so many hearts. 11-a-side, the 11 players love you. The guys on the bench, they're okay with you, but the guys in the stands don't like you as a coach.
We're opening up doors where 11-a-side player maybe couldn't make it 11-side, but you could come and play for Pirates Fives and be a professional player at what you love and do. My name's Conrad Witter and I'm the team manager of Orlando Pirates Fives. We're obviously doing the right thing. Hopefully we can look after some other talent that come through the ranks, especially development, and we need the development,
SABC Sport is everywhere for everyone. Stay tuned for action from all over Mzansi for the love of the game.
The Gerib River has given rise to many dreams. It's also attracted adventurers, explorers, big game hunters, the leaders of clans looking for a homeland for their people. And over the past 100 years, it especially inspired the dreams of old and young men with the possibility of vast wealth in the diamond rush, where human beings literally pull the earth out of the ground, culminating in this huge hole in Kimberley.
The Big Hole is one of the largest man-made holes in the world. 2,720 kilograms of diamonds have been removed from the site since diamonds were discovered here in 1867. Tony Swift's painting of the Big Hole shows a sudden and dramatic scarring in what appears to be an otherwise sparsely developed natural landscape. While this Nancy Hawthorne watercolor makes it feel like a scene of quiet drama in nature, as if you've come across the site of an impact that happened a long time before. Walter Westbrook, on the other hand, reveals for us the manner in which this colossal hole was formed, not by nature, but by men who dug and chopped away deeper and deeper into the earth with their hands and simple tools to uncover and try to own nature's deep hidden riches.
I'm at the Gong Gong waterfalls outside Berkeley West on the Vaal River, which flows into the Orange about 100 kilometers from here. It's called Gong Gong because it's got a peculiar characteristic of having created potholes in which there are little small boulders, and when the water flows very swiftly, it starts to go gong, 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 gong like that. And not only is this place really rich in tribal mythology about Mamlambo and Nyoramedzi, water snakes, it's also fantastically rich in diamonds. And this area in 1870 saw one of the biggest explosions of mining prospectors when 50,000 of them started to come down here to seek their fortunes. And even today, further downriver, there are people who continue to try their luck. Yeah, boy, yes. Yeah, matod. Ay, angati Mamlambo, ingang Bambi. Sabi Mamlambo. Ah. Hey.
McKay van Wyk is a self-employed diamond prospector who lives and works on the banks of the Gariep.
Het jy al 'n diamant hier gekry?
Nee, nie so nie.
Nee, is nie. En die is
Dis 'n kristal.
'n kristal.
Yes.
Okay. Het mense al die diamante
Ja.
gekry?
Ja.
Hierdie jaar?
Nee.
Nee.
Ou tyd nou, daai ou
Oud
tyd.
tyd,
Ja.
okay. Prospectors like McKay van Wyk, who are dotted all along the river here, prisoners of hope, waiting for that little white shiny stone to give them a sense of recognition of all the effort and time that they've spent searching for it. Ek wens jou geluk. Ek hoop dat jy 'n groot diamant kry.
That's it.
Many different groups who live along the Gariep grapple for a place and relevance in this changing world.
I'm in Wildebeest Kale, which is 10 kilometers outside Kimberley, because this place has a fascinating recent history. Thousands of kilometers north in Angola lived a San and a Khoi community, the Kung and the Kwe. And in the early 70s, they made a fateful decision to accept employment as scouts and trackers for the Portuguese colonial army. Later, they accepted employment with the South African Defence Force and were relocated into military camps in Namibia. In 1990, when Namibia became free, they were offered resettlement once again in Schmutzdrift, 90 kilometers away from Kimberley, and they lived there for about 10 years in a tent city.
Photographer Paul Weinberg has documented this period. His photographs serve as a poignant record of their life there.
And was then reallocated to another group of people, and they were offered compensation, and they opted to buy a farm. And they bought this farm out here, and they bought a place which is the most amazing library of San rock engravings in this area. And it's just a remarkable odyssey over that 40 years through all of these various countries to land up by sheer chance buying a farm which connects you to the original San people who lived here. What a homecoming.
The community has produced many contemporary artists who draw on the cultural legacy of the San to describe their lives and surroundings. As an informal collective, they experiment with color, form, and subject matter, with some occasional surprises, like this work by Fulai Shipipa. He was a hunter-gatherer, then a mango farmer, and in this intriguing work, Aquarium, he represents a surreal, otherworldly place which couldn't be further from the dry desert realities of the Northern Cape. He draws on the art of his ancestors, but brings something very contemporary to this long tradition. Another contemporary San artist who lived in the Kalahari was Regopstaan Vetkat Kruiper. He also used traditional San art forms as his inspiration, but out of them created something entirely his own.
Artist Liz Crosley, who grew up around Kimberley and has represented much of the landscape, is often puzzled by people who say that there's nothing out here. She says, we are not looking at nothing. We are looking at the origins and the basis of everything.
Crosley's style in these works is loose, with a bold use of color that maps out the landscapes of the area.
This deliberate use of color seems to reinforce her assertion that there's more to this landscape than meets the eye. The thing is, you have to look for it.
Today I'm in Johannesburg North. This is the St. Stephen's College Under-16 basketball tournament. 20 boys teams, 20 girls teams from all over Southern Africa. Ngikhuluma Zimbabwe, ngikhuluma Eastern Cape, ngikhuluma Free State, Gauteng as well, and of course KZN as well. You've got teams like Hilton College, Kersley, Michael House, and St. Charles as well, including the host, of course, St. Stephen's College.
I think basketball has also grown so much in schools that it has been a huge aspect in terms of raising a boy or a girl child. So the discipline, the motivational part of it, you know, the teamwork, it all encompasses in basketball and playing in it.
We always say under-16 is always where all the passion lies, because you still got that youth enthusiasm and you still want to compete. So we have got a very clear pathway, which starts all the way from grade 3, believe it or not, all the way to under 18. And then we are very involved in the club and university culture. So, for example, we've got players now who are playing for UCT first team. They are playing for Wits first team.
I love the sport, honestly. I love the benefits of it, like great friends, great brothers, especially coming from a school like St. Albans. Playing at this tournament means I was chosen to be here. I have a purpose to be here.
If you want to try out a sport like basketball, definitely go for it. It's super fun. The amount of relationships and friendships you build in there is absolutely empowering. Feel really good on the court, and the family spirit is absolutely amazing. Never be scared to try things that you like.
Keep watching SABC Sport for the love of the game.
These dunes are gathered and blown into the face of the desert by winds of change. These dreams are gathered and blown into the desert dunes, standing as monuments of hard mental labor. And as we wait for the wind to gather more sand and sanity, to build more hills of dunes of our dreams, sand is blown into our eyes, temporarily blinding our hopes.
Hi, Sabata.
Hi.
How you doing?
Well, how are you?
Good.
Good.
This is Sabata Mukai. He's a published poet from Warrington, just north of Kimberley. And he's one of the poets from the area who engages in the landscape. And just listening to your poem, there's always a sense of hope and possibility.
Oh, yes, it is. It might look harsh, grey, hopeless, and you can't even think that at some point there were cattle roaming here and people flocked from all over the corners of the world to come and dig diamonds here.
Sabata is writing a biography of one of South Africa's most important writers, Sol Plaatje, who was brought up in this area in Peniel.
He lived here until he left for Kimberley in 1891, but this place had so much impact on him while he was growing up here and attending school here, mission school here, which he attended until the level of standard 3. He used to be taught the old folk tales. He used to listen to them from his great-grand-aunt, Omagriet.
Solomon Tshekisho Plaatje was one of Africa's greatest intellectuals. He was the first Secretary General of the ANC, a political analyst, journalist and newspaper editor, a translator of Shakespeare into Setswana, as well as the first known black South African published novelist.
There's this notion that a child is brought up by the whole village, and Saul was not different. He was everybody's son, and he listened to everybody, and he admired everybody, the way they lived, the way they spoke to him.
Plaatje's political analysis of the 1913 Native Land Act, native life in South Africa, has given us one of the most searing and oft-quoted descriptions of dispossession. Awakening on Friday morning, June 20, 1913, the South African native found himself not actually a slave, but a pariah in the land of his birth.
Plaatje came from a royal Tswana lineage. The Tswana were the dominant economic and political force in the middle of the Gariep River catchment area for centuries. And this was due to the fact that they were able to mine iron ore and also smelt and forge it. In 1801, the Tswana city of Ditakong held a population of nearly 20,000, which was huge for the time. And this led to patterns of human migration and trade routes developing. And I'm driving through the main one, which was like the N1 of the time, between the Langeberg Mountains and the Kuruman Hills. Here nearby is another Tswana iron ore mine, which has a very, very interesting cultural twist to it. La la. Here? This has been mined over the past thousands of years, and we're here because it's a kind of primordial cosmetic factory. People came here to get the hematite, which is kind of decomposing iron ore, because it had an incredible glittery aspect to it, and they would mix it with fat and sometimes with ochre, and it was used for cosmetic purposes, but also for rituals.
It was an important part of how people represented themselves, decorating their hair and body. You weren't considered officially dressed if you weren't wearing sibilo, which is hematite in Setswana.
This particular place, which has been going for thousands of years, first mined by the San, the Khoisan, and then by the Tswana, became a mecca, and hundreds of tribes would come here, and it was a highly, highly valuable substance, and you could actually trade it for cattle. So this is just a little tribute to our first original cosmetic factory. Eat your heart out, L'Oreal.
my day in club, go guys. There's a huge big guy. He grabbed, you see, and in the softest of voices, please help. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not your therapist. Oh. And then he whips out 2 suitcases. And he says, choose one to seal the deal. And then, boom! And a Shandapovic detective shows up.
This is a drug bust.
Next thing I know, the news crew was in my face.
Waar is die dwelms?
You know me, ek de blok van onze jammer. And then a kid starts following me around like she's looking for his stepfather. And this time, sits on my legs like this. As if,
hey, waar is my kind?
As if I kidnapped her. How to even follow her home?
Rochelle, I think she's a daddy's girl. Okay, who's Rochelle? She does a kind of favor for her family that later she can't follow through on, and she betrays them. And it puts a lot of strain on the family. It also makes Rochelle live a life of isolation for a very, very long time. She is the kind of person, I believe, who dreams bigger than her community. She's ambitious. She has dreams that live far beyond the borders of Paradise. Hey, I play Rochelle on Paradise on SABC2. Live in every beat, the pulse of South Africa.
This is the Sishen mine near Katu. It's the biggest single pit open cast iron ore mine in the world, and it employs some nearly 10,000 people. It's the second biggest contributor to the Northern Cape's economy, and it's been going for about 54 years. It's got another 26 years of lifespan. It's 17 kilometers long and 300 meters deep. And this is such a far distance from a traditional communal mine like Tsansabane, some 80 kilometers south of here, which has been going for 100,000 years. But there is one big similarity here, is that both mines are a magnet for attracting different groups of people.
The mineral riches of this area have always attracted a diversity of people, including white explorers and adventurers in search of minerals, plants and big game to hunt. The first recorded account of Europeans reaching the Charib was a party of colonists that headed north in 1738, supposedly on a hunting and trading excursion, but more likely on a prospecting expedition. Here they came across Khoisan people who had lived in the area for thousands of years. Conflict was inevitable. 36 years later, the then Dutch governor of the Cape Colony issued an extermination order against the Khoisan. But all he was doing was giving official sanction to do what had been done anyway for 100 years, to shoot any Bushmen on sight and wipe them out entirely. But several 19th century European explorer artists have provided us with a different view of the local people that lived in this area, and although romanticized, they are nonetheless valuable records. William Burchell's drawings from 1811 show idyllic scenes of organized communities living on the banks of the Charib. Samuel Daniel's depictions are also of peaceful domestic scenes. And Francois Leveillon reveals the creativity of Khoisan domestic dwellings. These are all very different images of the people that the colony considered dangerous and savage enough to destroy. The land on the northern edge of the Charib is the Kalahari, the largest unbroken expanse of sand in the world. This is a vast and largely empty landscape, and one that has had a powerful influence on many people. Joshua Nell captures the endless stretch of scrub and sand that makes up this vast area of desert in a lyrical flow of colors. In contrast, Nobel Prize-winning South African author J.M. Coetzee reveals some of its ominous underbelly. Adapting the late 18th century journal of his ancestors' travels to the Charib on an elephant hunt, Coetzee produced his dark 1983 novella, Dusklands. Such loneliness. Not a stone, not a bush, not a wretched provident ant that is not comprehended in this traveling sphere.
Throughout most of the year, the Kalahari and the surrounding regions along the Charib seem to be dry, arid, desolate, open spaces. But the land is never what it seems. And during this period, it's sometimes hard to tell the boundary between plant and stone. But if one looks carefully in the crevices and in the stones, one sometimes finds little living hidden treasures. Between late August and early September, this entire area bursts into a huge floral rainbow of indigenous plants of many, many colors. The land becomes alive with life and only lasts for about 3 weeks, and then everybody shuts down their show and we have to wait for another year before we see that again, and the Kalahari returns to its dry, hidden, stony, quiet, silent self.
The flower spectacle that astounds this area for a few weeks every year has inspired a following of artists who have tried to capture its splendor. Each painting seems to try to find a better palette to grasp the endless variation of these incredible natural color fields. Some, like Hugo Naudé, play with multicolored dabs of paint. Others offer us a more pared-down view. And Koing Ai Gam stylizes the strange and wonderful succulent little star plant that grows in this area. The Nama people, whose culture dominates this part of the country, are the largest surviving group of Khoi descendants, the earliest inhabitants of southern Africa alongside the San. But identity and ancestry are a complex reality here, and colonialism has left its mark on this culture and its people in many ways. Yet music, poetry and storytelling, which are very important aspects of Nama culture, continue to be passed down through the generations.
Yes.
The diversity in this region is not only reflected in its plant life. The people themselves encompass their own rich cultural diversity. The relationship that people have with this land is often conflicted and is captured in a dance performance by a local group in Okiep. I'm fascinated by the movement, the dance movement. It seems to be like an amazing mixture of different movement styles.
Yes, we work with the contemporary dance style.
Yes.
But we try to incorporate the dance that's from here, the Namastap.
Oh, the Namastap.
Yeah, the
okay.
traditional dance from here.
Dawn has been all over the world as a dancer, but felt the need to be home to teach and creates performances about her community and her mixed identity.
My ouma groeikie. Was 'n naam. En sy man was 'n Duitser. En die ander opa groeikie, die was 'n Xhosa. En sy vrou was 'n bosluispastor. Nou vra ek vir julle. Wat is ek?
The other thing which I found profoundly compelling and affecting is the serious playfulness around identity.
I can just say
Yeah.
it's because I'm a mixed breedie.
You're a mixed breedie.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the everything. Everything is inside of me, yeah?
Yes.
In these veins.
Yes.
And nobody can wish away what they are. And as you look around you, each and every one of us, we're mixed.
Yes.
So we need to just accept
Yes.
that we all one people in the end.
Hey folks, name a country with the biggest diamonds, the juiciest steaks, and the best people. Well, there's only one good answer. It's Botswana, baby.
New on 2.
And we'll be playing the game with you soon.
This is definitely where the party begins.
Yeah, we about to blow up. Hell yeah. Name a phrase people use to greet each other. Yes.
Eita.
Hola. Chapo Joan.
Whoa, I damn near swallowed my tongue.
Well, you know what that means.
What is it?
Pump up that volume, Steve.
It's a new era for SABC2.
I thought we were keeping it PG, Steve.
So you just gonna blame me for that now? I didn't know you would lose your mind. Right here, focus. Y'all ready to play the feud? Yes, yes.
Family Feud Botswana, Saturday SABC2.
Today we're here shooting Kenneth's funeral. It's such a big, inciting incident in our story, losing a major character at the opening of our show.
Yeah, I know. Rest in peace to a soldier.
The Gerib and Namakwa landscape has inspired many well-known artists, but there are also local artists who have been moved to connect with and represent the landscape in which they grew up. And today we meet two of them. Here is Joseph Bakker. Hallo Joseph.
Hallo.
Hoe gaan dit?
Nee, goed.
Dis goed. Kan jy vir ons 'n bietjie sê hoe die landskap jou kuns beïnvloed?
Nee, dat is nog eens, dat is net die verandering wat daar is volgens die bos. Dat is al.
Die bos?
Ja, die bos.
Jy is 'n boer. Is dit moeilik om die twee te volg?
Nee, dat sal nie moeilik wees nie. Sodra die kinders maar net 'n bydrae lewer.
And this is Pierre Kloete. How's it, Pierre?
Fine, thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. We see the landscape as quite sort of grey and very repetitive. Do you think if I stayed here for some few years that I would start to see other colours?
A minimum of 10 years. A minimum of 10 years.
Yeah.
But because the landscape, it grows on you.
Yes.
Yeah, and you start to see the beauty of it. You see the nice colour, the pink colour of the rocks. It's got all types of colours in it. Because I'm a farmer, yes. This is the environment I live in every day.
Yes.
I got a small stock of goats.
Yes.
This is what the people here, they do. They're farming to sustain themselves,
yes.
you see.
Yes. Do you draw a lot on Khoi history, Khoi culture, Khoi mythology? Who tells you about it?
It's like stories passed from generation to generation. For me, it's important to know my roots.
Yes.
Because you can't go into the future if you don't know where you come from.
And this painting is fascinating.
Yeah, this is a woman who's pregnant,
yes.
but also it's representing the flower. And there's a lot of pollution going on in the Northern Cape, a lot, especially in the Maculand. So my fear is, will there be flowers in the future to come for the next generation to see? The rainfall is changing, and the flowers, I see they're declining.
Are they declining?
Yeah, they're actually declining. So it's like Mother Earth, she's giving birth to the flowers and stuff like that.
That's beautiful.
Danses wat ons by ons voorouers.
Ja.
Het ons die namatans met die bruilowe en die meisies wat jong meisies troue en al daai dinge.
Ja.
Het hulle vir ons so wys ons het ons kinders dat ons al dit so gesien.
Ja.
Nou se troue is dat daar word die man se mens is een kant en die vrou se mens is een kant.
Ja.
En die man moet omdraai. En dan moet die man sy vrou probeer om daar te kry. En die vrou se mense veg teen die man se mense om die vrou te kry, maar as hy nie kan sy vrou uitdans nie,
dan kan die vrou nie die man kry nie.
Die
man kan nie die vrou kry nie.
En hierdie stappe wat ons gesien het, is 'n tradisioneel.
Ja, dit is waar uit die namme mense groot geraak het.
So groot geraak.
So as jy nie kan namme stap dan so dan moet jy weet jy het ook 'n vrou.
Ja, dit is baie pragtig om die kleintjies ook te sien.
Ja, dat kyk ons probeer vir hulle op te leer.
Kyk, hulle is nog in die laerskool. Dit is laerskoolkinders.
Die namme mense.
Die namme het gesterf, nou ons hom weer optel uit die dode.
Die dode.
Ja,
ons wil hom graag weer opbou.
Kinders en nou wil ons die klein kindertjies wil ons nou voetspoor.
Ja.
Dat
hulle kan voetspore kan volg, ja.
Baie dankie. Ja. Baie dankie. Hier is afval. Dit smaak 'n bietjie soet. Wat is daar binne?
Daar's 'n bietjie woestersaus.
Appelkoos. Ja. En hier
roosterkoek.
Roosterkoek. Nou hoe maak jy 'n roosterkoek?
Vat jy nou so meel. Broodmeel.
As lento, but I roosterkoek kanti ngompela ke umbatanga engwaziyo mina. Umbatanga nika. Enimnandi. Bayisethe ngendlela efanele.
Not far from here, the Charib changes character dramatically, beginning with a precipitous drop, the Ochrabis Falls. Many artists have captured this transition and the changed nature of the river above and below the falls. Beyond the mind, there is a river longer than lifetimes, besides which feet place themselves as imprints on the sand, or as wet marks on stone, one succeeding the other. This river is the child of rain. She has fallen down the sky like a beating whip, or has come on the stretched out legs of the clouds, running with antelope speed to the mountains and the rising land, where she slides from the thunderhead to lie with her long body in the grooves of the world.
What a trip.
One time. But this is where you're supposed to be.
Yes. Artists like Garth Erasmus have plunged deep into the complex histories and cultures along the Gariep River, and this is wonderfully represented in his Now series of paintings.
Drawn with candle smoke, the images evocative of sand rock art waft onto paper. It is a powerful process, and the images are compelling. Garth's yearning to explore his ancestral roots has taken him on a musical journey.
I came across the Khoisan section in the South African Museum. I'd never known that there was a rich musical heritage in the Khoisan culture, you know, and I'm very close to that, so I was blown away because I took it like this, that I was finding something out about myself. You know, so I saw this bow and arrow like instrument with a gourd attached to it, and I simply made it at home.
Oh, wonderful. It's played in a similar fashion to...
It's played in a similar fashion to the berimba. So when I was making these instruments, they started as art objects, but when I heard the sound, I mean, it's really, I really did not expect it to have such an immediate effect on me, you know.
Art into music, that's fantastic, man. It's beautiful.
This is, it's almost like a bass mouth bow, but
Are you ready for today, though?
I'm a bit nervous, but we'll get there.
Everyone's nervous, though.
Are you nervous?
A bit. We'll get there, though. Okay, pose for the camera. Show me your moves. Ange.
Also known as Kangarang. What's up, guys? I'm Harvey from Our Space.
Hi guys, I'm Javon from Our Space.
I'm Camden Reeve, and I will be a part of a show called Our Space.
Stand by, everybody, coming out of ad break.
Is it a video? Then that's no problem. I'm gone. And Our Space is basically like young people that's struggling with their lives, and we're just helping them, interview them, and we're ready for this.
Usually we're like listening to our parents, teachers, all that, and you have to be like obedient, right? Here we can just speak our opinions, we can say what we want.
Where you can escape reality and be your authentic self.
What's up, Jeff? What's up?
I feel like I'm so I'll be short.
where the game meets the streets, and the clapbacks are as spicy as the goals. This is Mzansi Fundis, the soccer show with attitude. We don't just talk football, we argue, laugh, roast and rate it. From the PSL heat to the CAF football streets, our hosts Lekoko, Mpoza and Lufuno, Batsela Tupa. This is the voice of the new generation of football fans. Mzansi Fundis, football banter, Mzansi style. Watch us only on every Thursdays at 9 p.m.
Good morning, grade 3s. A 2D, two-dimensional shape is a flat shape. 2D shapes do not have any thickness. 2D shapes can be described, sorted, and compared by looking at the features, properties of the shape. Features, properties of 2D shapes are if the sides are round or straight. Let's have a look at the features, properties of some 2D shapes. Let's look at a 2D shape with round sides. Here is a circle. The circle has a round side. Circles can be of different sizes. Let's look at a 2D shape with straight sides. Here is a triangle. The triangle has 3 straight sides. Count the straight sides. 1, 2, 3. Triangles can be shaped differently and placed in different positions and still be a triangle. All the triangles have 3 straight sides. The sides do not have to be equal in length. Here is a square. The square has 4 straight sides. Count the straight sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 straight sides of the square are equal in length. Squares can be of different sizes and placed in different positions and still be a square. All the squares have 4 equal straight sides. Here is a rectangle. The rectangle has 4 straight sides. Count the straight sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 opposite straight sides of the rectangle are equal in length.